Hell is Real, Part 5, The Book of Life. Now, we've spoken a lot about the imagery that Jesus described while he was speaking about hell and what it represented, both that it was eternal as well as that it was a place of punishment or torment, and the fact that it, of course, is real. So, let us speak about what happens at the end of the age. At the end of the age, the devil will eventually be thrown into the lake of fire and brimstone, where he will be forever, and evil will be forgotten forever, and God will set up his kingdom. And it is said that there will be what they call a great white throne judgment for those who were on the earth. And it is described in Revelation chapter 20, starting at verse 11. And I saw a great white throne, and him that sat on it, from whose face the earth and the heaven fled away, and there was found no place for them. And I saw the dead, small and great, stand before God, and the books were opened. And another book was opened, which is the book of life. And the dead was judged out of those things which were written in the books according to their works. And the sea gave up the dead which were in it, and death and hell delivered up the dead which were in them. And they were judged every man according to their works. And death and hell were cast into the lake of fire. This is the second death. And whosoever was not found written in the book of life was cast into the lake of fire. So this is a vivid description of God's great white throne judgment at the end of the age, where he of course has two different books, a set of books which obviously seem to, based off the description we have read there, seems to have shown the various things that we've done in our lives, whether they were good or bad, as well as another book which shows if we are redeemed by the blood of Christ, or the book of life. And all those who are of Christ are of course written in that book. And those who are not, at the end, while he judges them and shows them why it is he's doing what he's doing, which is to judge them, they of course will be cast into the lake of fire. So, an important thing to note, it is not by the fact that your works or your good works, as Paul described it, that you are saved, but you are saved by grace alone and by faith alone in Jesus Christ. But because, of course, there is a chasm between good and evil, and that us as humans or men will always fall into sin, there is this need for a Savior, this need for somebody who would bring us back into relationship with the divine, to be redeemed and to be forgiven for those sins. And God will show in this great white throne judgment, this last part of the age of man, where he will show that our works cannot save us, and those unfortunately who did not believe in him will be cast into the lake of fire, which is of course hell. So I hope you've gotten a little bit out of this series where I spoke about Jesus' description of hell, and I'm speaking now about the book of life. It is now up to you to make a decision to know what you will do with your life as it progresses.